if you think about it, you look at, no, I'm not saying this happens at all in the IT industry because we're perfect. But if you look at, like one of my sons is a mechanic, and that industry has been blamed for years and years, and they got people that go around and they check on them and so on, because you go in there and you fix your car, and then they claim that a lot of these mechanics will break something else, or they'll loosen something up somewhere, so that you have to come back because they want to make sure their customers come back. You know, I have a brother-in-law who's a dentist, and I always tell him he's being really dumb. He should keep a big, huge thing of toffee. Remember that real sticky, yucky garbage stuff? I keep telling him, you should give this. The kids love it. Exactly. And he keeps looking at me, saying, if we didn't have, an association that monitors for things like that, he says I would do it in a heartbeat because it would triple my business. And now I'm not saying that this, because I think a VAR has a very different mentality. A VAR, and one that has held them back and is probably holding them back from being an MSP, and that is they believe that their job, and it has been up until now, their job is to come in there and make everything work. And there's nothing really has been made properly to work together as a whole. So they love to that tinkering, the challenge. It's sort of like playing chess or
absolutely.
Anything else. But you know what? My answer would be to them, go out and find another hobby. Now you can do that, and you can make enough money plus some so that you can afford to do that, and you'll have a lot more fun.
Right.
And keep your games and your challenges for your own free time. And you can do that by becoming an MSP.
Well, think about it this way, right? I mean, just to go off what you're saying. So imagine you're right now. You get a big thrill from going in there and being the hero, saving the day. Computer's down. You went in there. You did a great job. You fixed it. You brought it up, right? You're that dragon slayer, right? But riding in the white horse, saving the day, right? But at the end of the day, if you think about the problem from a different perspective, their problem is not necessarily the computer's down now at this point. Their problem is, how do I make my businesses more efficient? How do I get more revenue coming in? How can I actually increase some leads, bring in some more marketing? How do I actually make my operations a little better? My financials, keep my systems up so that I can ensure my business and maintain stability. That's the problem now. So if we can get that, most of our VARs we work with are really, really smart. They're excellent technicians and they're great problem solvers. But if they switch the problem from being just the machines themselves to the overall business issues, then that's a great challenge. That's a bigger challenge to tackle, and you're actually much more of a hero at that point, right?
So let's talk about that for a minute, because I think that's one of the big fears that a lot of them have, and that is they're techies, they're not business people. And so the good part about becoming an MSP is there's recurring revenue.
Sure.
Just imagine, you can wake up in the morning on January 1st and say to myself, wow, I've already made my year's quota.
Absolutely.
How good is that? I wish I could do that in my business.
Exactly.
Matter of fact, if you guys can actually figure out an MSP or a managed service provider type of arrangement for our industry, please let me know, because I'm the first one to sign up.
Right. I'll work on that next.
And I bet it's money in the bank. It's such a great, it's just a great model. But on top of that, your customer gets better service. There's no doubt about that. Absolutely. I don't care how many people you have, unless you've got a team of people who are going to live inside that client. They can't. There's no way they can compete against it.
Absolutely.
And then the third thing is, it gives you. You can either do two things. You can either take a whole lot more time and start saying, "Hey, wow, for the first time in 20 years or whatever it is, I've actually can have a life." Or if that's not what you want, because some people love to work, and there's nothing wrong with that. Well, maybe there is, but since I spend so many hours working, I can't really put it down. But you can then grow and have more money. And at the end of the day, I know every VAR tells me all the time, it's not only about the money. But guess what? I'll bet you, if I turned to you and I said to you, at the end of a year, you would make enough money that you can go out and buy yourself a really nice Porsche. Not too many of you are going to turn that down, because the reality is, it is about the money.
I mean, money brings peace of mind and brings those options, right? So if you're generating a set revenue, and every month, first of the month, you're going to have X amount of dollars coming in, that brings you some type of peace of mind where you can focus on other things and not be wondering next month, how much am I going to be billing, right?
Yeah, like the Beatles said, money can't buy you love, but you know what? It can. And if it can't, at least you can rent it. But you think about it, it's what do you really love? What do you really want? And if I was becoming an MSP and I need the motivation to do that, I would sort of sit there and lean back and say, okay, if I wanted to spend an extra $30,000 or an extra $50,000 or an extra $25,000 or an extra $100,000, what would I really have to do to get there? And most of you as a VAR, with the traditional way, you would say, Robert, this doesn't make any sense at all. I've been trying to do that for years and years. Well, in this, with an MSP, you can set that goal and you can get there. Now, the problem is that they're not business people. So I'll go through and I'll let you and feel free to add on as you go through.
Sure.
But I would say, here's the steps. It's really simple. Go out there and learn how, and somebody from like Raphael can show you how to go out there and actually turn your customers, your current customers, into an MSP. And don't do them all at once. Get one, get it under your belt, understand what's going on, figure it out, and go to one that you have a really, really good relationship with, and say to them, you know, it might not work right away, I'm doing this, it's for your good, it's for my good, it's going to make my overall service to you better, your overall costs over the course of a year is probably going to be quite a bit less. You actually now can budget how much I'm going to charge you for a year as opposed to not. So there's good, easy reasons to get started. Then the next step is you slowly start moving forward. So Raphael can help you with moving forward and moving through. We have some tools that we can give you for free that'll help you with the marketing side of it.
Sure.
So that's another step that you get going into. But then as you start going, start to see what the common things are and start talking to your customers from a whole new way. So go in there, and I don't know, do you have any templates to talk about what type of questions they should be asking at the beginning?
Absolutely. We actually work with them on developing a strategic kind of a game plan for each of their clients. So each of their clients, you know, we can custom tailor questions that are specific to them that affect their business issues. But you can really raise a lot of awareness and get the client thinking about, you know, things they might have not been thinking about before. Think about it from this perspective. When you go to your doctor, you know how good your doctor is by the value of their questions. He asks you to come in and say, look, my arm hurts. And he asks you, well, does your back hurt too? Does your this hurt? When you move sideways on Tuesdays, does it make that hurt a little worse? So, you know, you start realizing, wow, I wasn't thinking about it that way, and you start connecting more and more dots. You think, wow, this is a great doctor. So if you think about almost like your clients as your patients, and you really want to go in there and say, you know, let me not just diagnose, or let me not just treat the symptom, let me look for the root cause of the problem, right, which might be something else. That's where you really build more of a bond with your client, and we can help you develop a lot of the strategic questions. We can help you develop a lot of the templated, even SLAs and how, you know, to guarantee what you're going to deliver, and even how to propose your solutions. We have a lot of that. We're working with you guys. It's been great, where you guys have a lot of great market material available to your clients that make it easy. Because there's a challenge that I've seen. A lot of that, the one question we get, because most of our, you know, one man shops and smaller, you know, partners we work with are like, look, I'm so busy right now. Where am I going to find the time to A, develop all my marketing material, B, learn how to sell it, C, go out and then specifically know what my clients really need and go and make all these partnerships. The good news is there's a lot of other people that have been in the same situation as you. We've seen thousands and thousands of partners go through the exact same things that you're going through. There's nothing that we haven't seen that you're doing. And we get this all the time. Well, we're a little different. And as soon as you go into it, it's almost exactly the same issues. And that's the good news, that you can leverage people like Robert, like myself, like MSP University, and we'd be happy to show you just a plan that's more specific for you guys. And we have most of that stuff templated to save you time.
So it's interesting you say that. Like, we're now merging our company with Swap Marketing. And
Sure.
I mean, they've been around for a long time. We've been around for a long time. And we started getting together, and it was like, okay, and we had to put together a game plan as to how the two of them are going to go together. Now, both of us have helped tons of companies over the years do this exact same thing. But the first thing I remember saying to Bill, or maybe it was him to me, I don't remember who said it first, but we both were saying was, well, yeah, but our case is different. And all of a sudden we just sort of stopped and go, you know what? We have to start treating this as if it's a client, because we're not different. It feels different to us. It's so much harder. Like, you know, I would go in there and I would say, okay, what's your elevator pitch? Well, you know what? I've told companies forever, You know, it took us a long time to come up with an elevator pitch. It's, you know, it's
Sure.
all the things. You're not different. Sorry to tell you this, but you're not different. Now, but let's go back to it. So you're not a business person, but we're asking you to sell business solutions. So what you really need to do is realize that those business solutions are tied into apps. They're not tied into technology. Technology is an enabler. Business apps are what makes the difference.
Absolutely.
And as you're going forward, if you're not selling business apps, that's where the money's going to be. The way you're going to do them is by becoming a managed service provider and understanding what the cloud services are, because more and more of them are going in there. So you have to have that type of knowledge. Now, how do you build that? And the answer is that as you start getting more and more people into the MSP program and you into your MSP program and or I'm sorry, your managed service program. Not, I'll get it. It's early, but so you get them into as a managed service customer for you. You start asking them the questions. You go through the templates. Over time, you start to learn an industry, and so start focusing more and more on that industry, so that you can actually know which apps are the right apps for it. Because I'll tell you, it's not like you've got a choice now where you phone up to your distributor and you say, okay, which app do I need for this customer? It's like, okay, they're going to come back to you and there's like, okay, well, there's this 600 apps that we can possibly fit for that solution.
Sure.
And no, you're never, like if you thought it was hard to understand about the 400,000 products that are in open distribution right now, try when you're going to have to go through all these little apps for different things. But if you focus on a few customers and start growing in that area, you become a specialist.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and if you're smart enough to understand technology, because in my opinion, if you can do technology, you can learn anything at all.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Technology is very difficult, and
yeah.
you're spending a lot of time researching right now, a lot of things. And the good news is that time you spend researching, you can also spend time researching the business itself. Think about, you know, and here's the thing we say, like, if you want to really become a trusted advisor, really understand your clients a lot better, you know, like the conferences that we do, CompTIA Breakaway is a fantastic opportunity and event for a lot of us to learn. But there's also a lot of events. If you're a specialist, let's say your specialty is, you know, medical. Medical has a lot of events, just like CompTIA's Breakaway, where people are going to come and learn strategies to grow their businesses. So attend those events. Know what your clients are trying to do. Whatever vertical you want to really specialize in, or whatever business you really want to help out, you have to be attending the things they're doing. As an attendee, learning their strategies, learning their business, and then that'll give you an idea. Because you've already spent all this time learning all about technology. Now when you understand their strategy, you go, wait a minute, I know what can fix that, or I know what can make that better. That's when you start really getting to the point of being a trusted advisor and really being a valuable resource. If you're worried about losing your clients, if you're worried about, you know, maybe potentially even having clients that'll, you know, or being in a situation where the client, you know, can shop you or say, I want the lowest price possible. At this point, it's not about technology anymore. It's about your advice. It's about your specific strategic advice and how it can help their business specifically.
Yeah, and if you've already got that relationship as a trusted business advisor, they're not going to really shop unless they've already been upset with you. This is not going to make them shop around, because what you're doing is you're lowering their costs, you're making it more predictable for them what the cost is going to be, and you're making the service much better. Like, I mean, if you come to me, anybody, you know, you come in any industry, and you come to me and you say, hey, I want to give you something that's going to be lower cost and higher functionality for you, and much easier for everybody to do, you think I'm going to say no? Like, I mean,